Everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to another video. So if you are new to this channel, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Diana. I'm a registered nurse currently practicing in the UK. I migrated from overseas. On this channel, I share advice on how you can migrate to the UK successfully and smoothly as a registered nurse. I've done so many videos. Feel free to check it out. And if any of them interest you, please share with others and kindly subscribe. Since I started putting content on this channel, a lot of people have asked me several questions. I've managed to answer some of them privately, but then I just feel like addressing almost all the questions by doing this Q&A video, so that at least it will benefit somebody who has not even had this question in mind to ask, because I know like migrating from another country to the UK, it can be a lengthy process. You may have several questions bothering your mind. So I hope the questions I'm going to address in this video will help clear any doubts that you may have or answer any question that you may have. So I have this sheet of paper here which has all the questions I'm going to address. I've got all of them listed so that I don't miss any of them. So just bear with me, and if you realize I'm looking down, it's just because I want to like take a critical look at the question. So the first question I'd like to answer: do you need IELTS and CBT if I'm already living in the UK? So if someone asked me this question on Facebook, and I did try my best to answer, but I believe someone might still be wondering if it's possible to register as a nurse when you're already living here in the UK, and you still need to go through the process of writing IELTS and CBT. So the answer is yes. If you migrate through whichever means into the UK and still has the intention of working as a nurse, then you definitely have to go through the process of writing the IELTS, writing CBT, writing OSCE, and then you get your PIN. If you are here, you are a registered nurse back home, but not really interested in practicing as a nurse here, then fine, you don't need to bother going through this process. But no matter how long you stay in this country and by whichever means you came here, if you wish to migrate, if you wish to work as a nurse, definitely you will need to write IELTS and CBT. The next question is, if you are on tier 2 visa, will you be able to register with an agency? So the answer is definitely yes. So if you migrate to the UK as a registered nurse, normally you would have contracted number of hours you need to work with your employer, which is normally 37.5 hours if it's a full-time. Apart from those hours, you are allowed to work extra 20 hours aside your normal hours. So definitely you can do this 20 hours extra in your own hospital, or you can register with an agency and take shift. I did a video on how you can make extra money as a nurse, and this is one of the ways you can make extra money, because mostly the agencies pay like way higher than the rate you will get if you do an extra shift in your own hospital. So kindly check out the link to that video. And so yes, you are allowed to register with an agency, and definitely you will be allowed to pick up shifts and do your 20 hours extra either with an agency or in your hospital. So yes, you can register with an agency. The next question is, what is the expenses if you are applying to the UK to work as a registered nurse without an agency? So that's a very interesting question, and it's hard to say exactly how much it will cost. So initially, it was the agencies who would help you with the recruitment process, getting you the job, setting you up for interviews and all that. But now, because of this policy WHO came up with, you would have to apply to the hospitals directly from overseas and do everything on your own. So you don't go through the agencies anymore. So this person wants to find out how much it will cost you in total. So like I said, in my case, I came through agency way back then when this policy was not there. So I had to write IELTS, which I paid for my own. I wrote CBT, I did pay that as well. I did tuberculosis test before coming. I paid all of that. And when I came to the UK, the hospital refunded the CBT, the IELTS, and the tuberculosis test. The hospital also paid for the flights as well as the immigration health surcharge and the visa processing fee. And also they paid for at least 3 months accommodation whilst we were preparing for the OSCE. So in total, I will say that it really didn't cost me anything. So you would have to find out, if you get a job offer, you have to find out from the hospital if they will be willing to refund all of these. So if they are okay to refund, then I would say that it will cost you nothing at all. But you just have to make sure that you make that inquiry beforehand. And if they are willing to refund when you get here, fine, you go ahead. So it's actually hard to say how much it will cost you in total. But at least you can confirm the price for the IELTS from British Council in whichever country you are, and also obviously you know the amount for the CBT. So if your hospital is willing to refund all of this, then I would say that it will cost you virtually nothing, because you're going to get it all back once you start working here. So someone also asked, can you move from one hospital to the other when you arrive in the UK? So you can move from one hospital to the other depending on the contract you had with your hospital. Let me use myself as an example. In my case, it was stated in the offer letter that you should at least work with this hospital for 12 months. If you don't work with them for that 12 months, you would have to refund the 3-month free accommodation they gave you. So that was it. So if you before you accept any job offer, you need to make sure that you read the terms and conditions of the offer before you go ahead and sign, because once you sign, it's like you've made the agreement, you can't go against it. So if you come here and you don't work for that number of months or years they've stated, then it means you've gone contrary to whatever agreement you both had, and there could be implications. So if I have moved from that hospital because I've worked for that 12 months long time ago, so I'm no more with that hospital. So you just have to find out how many months or compulsory number of years you need to work with them. Once you've worked for that number of months or years, then obviously you are free to move anywhere. And you shouldn't let anything stop you at all from moving from one place to the other or from one hospital to the other if you don't really find the job interesting, or if you don't like whatever ward you are working in. So yes, ideally you can move from one hospital to the other. You just have to bear in mind, if they stated any number of years you have to work with them, then you have to just go by that. So once you are done with the number of years they want you to work, that's it, you are allowed to move from one hospital to the other. So adding to this, you have to bear in mind that if you are moving from one hospital to the other, then you need to apply for a new BRP, because the sponsorship you had with the current hospital was what allowed you to apply for the visa and all that. So if you are moving from one hospital to the other, the new hospital would have to give you another certificate of sponsorship, another offer letter, then you have to go through the visa process all over again. So it means the BRP you have currently will no longer be valid. You have to get a new BRP from the sponsorship you get with the new hospital, then you can transition peacefully. So without the new BRP, you can't just quit the old job and then go to the new job. So bear that in mind. Someone also wanted to know how many years or how long does it take for you to apply for ILR. So ILR means indefinite leave to remain. So when you get indefinite leave to remain, that means you can live in this country indefinitely, and you will not need to be changing sponsorship if you are moving from one job or one hospital to the other. And before you qualify to apply for indefinite leave to remain, you should have worked or lived in this country for at least 5 years. So even if you want to travel outside the country, you have to make sure that you don't spend more than 180 days outside. So for instance, if you are on annual leave, or if for any reason at all you need to take a break and go back to your country, for some reasons you don't need to spend more than 180 days. Otherwise, it would affect your application for the indefinite leave after the 5 years. Someone also wants to find out if moving from one hospital to the other affects your ILR application after 5 years. So the answer is no. And it's not stated anywhere in the Tier 2 working conditions or on the government website that moving from one hospital to the other as an overseas nurse will affect your ILR application after 5 years. So if that was the case, then most people, most overseas nurses would not qualify for ILR because a lot of nurses have moved from one hospital to the other. And unless if you are not happy in one place, you don't need to stay there at all. You just have to move when you have to. Even me, that's about my 3rd hospital. So there is nowhere in any policy that it would affect your ILR application. The only condition, at least, you should have stayed continuously in the UK for 5 years. So once you've stayed here for 5 years, nothing stops you. So moving from one place to the other doesn't affect you at all. So the last question is, how long does it take to apply for British citizenship after the ILR? So in order to qualify for the ILR, at least you should have stayed here for 5 years. So after the 5 years, you should leave for 12 months before you can apply for the British citizenship or British passport. So that means 5 years for ILR, and then 12 months after the 5 years, you apply for the citizenship. So I would say in the 6th year, then you qualify to apply for the British passport. So I hope this Q&A video addressed a lot of questions that you had. If there is any question I've not addressed, kindly put it in the comment section below, and I'm more than happy to answer. And if I need to do further research, I'm happy to do that. So I'll end this video by saying that thank you all so much for your support so far, and thank you for watching. Please share with anybody, because I believe there are a lot of people out there who are still skeptical about this whole process of migrating to the UK, and they have lots and lots of questions. You can DM me on Instagram or in my Gmail account, and I'm more than happy to respond to any question. So stay safe wherever you are, and see you in my next video. Bye.